know some cool stuff with the mythology of the Mesoamerican mythology and all that. We're actually staying true to some of that stuff. And it's like I'm learning a bunch of stuff. It's like some of it's, it's a little bit of creative license to do some of these things. But I didn't know some of this stuff existed, and I see some of these books, and I've gone to like flea markets or whatever, and I see these books. I always text them to Carlos Cotto, our showrunner. He goes, "Yeah, we got those." I'm like, "Of course you do."
Yeah, I was surprised. I thought it was just them making stuff making shit up for the show. But then it's funny. I caught a couple like shows on Discovery Channel one time. I'm like, "Wait a minute, it's real?" Like, I thought that was just Jake Busey just rambling. That's actually real.
Yeah.
So, and at the last shot of the film is that cool pullout where you finally see the back of the titty twister. You see that it's this giant temple. And Robert has that painting hanging in one of the main rooms of Troublemaker. And he's been staring at it for 20 years, and he had a lot more material for the original Dusk film that he just couldn't fit into the story. So, he's been thinking about this and extrapolating on it, and we're lucky enough to be the recipients of that drawer with all the dust opening, and we're getting to bring all those ideas to life.
We found stuff that felt like it aligned so well with what we were doing that it felt like it was meant to be. Some of it we had planned ahead of time and thought, well, if there's nothing we can find in mythology that fits this, we'll just make it up. But we found a bunch of things. That was, my showrunner and my writers knew that that's kind of how I did the first film. Quentin it was just set in a bar in Mexico. It wasn't it was a vampire bar. It wasn't a temple or anything. I added all that in to try to find something so it wouldn't just be like European vampires, but like Mexican vampires or Mayan or Aztec. So I started looking at mythologies to find anything that would, and I found this sort of snake cult and built it from there. That's why the Salma character is the only one in the original film that had sort of a snake motif. Because of that I found, and we just made it more consistent, when we did the series. Originally, she was called White Death. It was just Quentin actually had in mind Madonna, casting Madonna as White Death. She was just someone who came out and she killed everybody, and then she got killed right away. And I said, we could really do something more. It's set in Mexico. We should make her actually Mexican. And I just worked with this girl, Desperado. So he rewrote it for Salma and called her Santanico. And I added the snake dance because I wanted to use the snake thing in it. The movie didn't really have room for mythology like the series does. But I try to just stick it in there to kind of and have this shot of pulling back of a temple at the end. That wasn't in the script. I added all of that to kind of just make it feel like there was more of a historical context to it all. And just as a texture. And so when she got killed, even though she was written that she got stabbed and she disappeared, I told her to go ahead and just smile as she disappeared so we'd think that she wasn't really dead. And she does this little, notice Salma gives sort of this little knowing smile as she disappears. Because in my mind, that's not how she's going to die. She should live forever. But maybe she tricked the gods or something, I didn't know. But when we got through the TV series, or now we can really make her a main character. Because I really loved how when Quentin got into the bar, she zeroes in on him, like they had a connection. So I wanted to start the connection sooner and make it more, that's the whole season 1 is a very different retelling in the film to take advantage of these characters that got killed too soon. So we really wanted to build the series around these characters, and so that it wasn't intentional when I made the film, but later, the more I would see that movie over the years, I'd go, I wish there was more between these two characters, Richie and Santanico. Those are really interesting to me. And that's, of course, what the whole series is based on now. So it's fun when you go back and get to remake something that you've already made, because you get to do it better the second time, because you like the things that you didn't take advantage of, you take advantage of them.
It's funny, they ask me all the time, and we do study that in Mexico. We study that in elementary, because it's the story of the Aztecs and the Mayans. So it's literally, everyone's like, did you guys study about his whole story? I'm like, yeah, in school. I had to study for like my exams. But, it's speaking about our culture, I think, it's really awesome that Robert uses this show to really broadcast the story of this amazing mythological world that we have in Latin America, I love that he really, instead of becoming turning us into vampires are culebras based on snakes, because snakes have such a humongous story and importance in our history as well. And so, I mean, we all did, you know. There's these, I remember the scene with Wilmer, like when he does this like thing with his head that is just, you gotta get that corporality, you know, you gotta like, the way you move, she's a stripper, you know, the way she like, you know, those snakes that when they play the music and they come out and dance, it's kind of like that. She's that. The way she speaks to people, the way she touches them, it's we did all those snakes kind of give our own touch to it, and being educated in that aspect of knowing the mythologic side of it really helped me as well, because I understand what we're talking about, and it really comes easy to me in that aspect. But it was